Good evening, FSU. I'm meteorologist Brandon Lashbrook with you on this Wednesday edition of FSU Weather. Looking at our live camera of Doak Campbell Stadium, we see cloudy conditions and darker skies over toward the west where we have some rain currently. Current temperature at 83 degrees, cloudy, and we have south to southeast winds at 7 miles an hour. Our current temperatures around the area, we see 82 degrees Tallahassee, a sharp gradient right here with 75 in Quincy where all that rain is located. A little bit warmer around Perry, 87 degrees. And our current radar, we see that those showers and storms propagating up toward the north as they soak over the western side of where we are. And for our headlines today, we see the storm chances will diminish a little bit as the weekend comes over. And the tropical Pacific over in the eastern Pacific is starting to ramp up. And our Memorial Day weekend getaway forecast is going to be coming for you. All that and more in FSU Weather.
And welcome in again to this Wednesday edition of FSU Weather. I'm Student Meteorologist Evan O'Regan. Let's get you caught up of what we have planned for tonight's show. So we have some active severe weather going on in two places. We have stuff going on in the Midwest around Chicago right now, and we also have stuff going on in the Deep South around Mississippi. So we had some active watches. We also have some warnings as well, so we'll get to that later. We also have a quick look at the Eastern Pacific and the tropics. So we'll have to catch up on there because things could develop there. And we have that Memorial Day weekend getaway forecast for a bunch of cities around the southeast that you may be heading to this weekend. But now I'm going to hand things over to Brandon at the wall, who's going to give us a look at our first local forecast here around Tallahassee.
Yes, that is correct. We do have here locally a little bit some active weather around us. Again, here's that live look over looking toward the west. We see darker clouds where we do have some storms and some thunder showers moving over toward the north. And again, it is 83 degrees, and we have that southeast wind. On our radar, we see those storms moving over to the north. These are moving over and around the same area. So, I mean, we do have a flood watch. I'll show you a little bit of that later on. And we see for our temperatures today, it's not showing up again today. I don't know why, but our high temperature was 87 degrees. And thankfully, a lot lower than 100 degrees, that was a record. And here's these temperatures. I mean, we see where the rain is located for sure, where we do have a lot lower temperatures and a little bit warmer the further inland you go and down by the coast a little bit by Perry. And our heat index is also kicking in today. A little bit more neutral over in Quincy, but we have 91 in Monticello and 88 in Perry, so that heat, we're definitely feeling it today. And for the next 24 hours of future radar, the storms will diminish a little bit over tonight and tomorrow morning, but they will kick back in again, looking around maybe 2 o'clock over in the afternoon, they'll start kicking in again. And for the overnight hours, we see the storms are scattered, possible, cloudy conditions, mild temperatures in 69 Tallahassee, around the upper 60s, lower 70s. And for tomorrow, we see 83 in Tallahassee, and 85 in Monticello, and 87 over in Perry. And for the dog walk forecast, I know it's not a dog, this is Genevieve's a guinea pig. It's a very cute little guy right there. 7 a.m. we're seeing 71 degrees. We also have a chance of patchy fog before 9 a.m. tomorrow. So be careful if you do go for your dog walk in the morning because you want to go early on before the showers come over. But you want to be careful with that patchy fog that will be in the area. And looking over toward our week ahead, we see Thursday and Friday, we have thunderstorm chances up to 60% for our precipitation, and at 83 for a high Thursday and 88 on Friday, excuse me. And as we go into the weekend, into next week, we do have a high pressure system that will move over, will bring some drier, warmer conditions, and looking for possibly a great Memorial Day weekend up until Monday. Temperatures will warm up a little bit as the week goes on. Now I'll go ahead and pass it over to Evan for a nice look at our southeast.
Yeah, thanks, Brandon. So zooming out to the southeast, like you said, look at our live cameras right now. We have Tampa sitting at 92, nice and warm there. Clear skies, look at a beautiful day there. Over in Clemson, a little bit cloudier and much cooler, only at 68 right now. And Atlanta, they're dealing with those showers and thunderstorms right now, sitting at 70. And behind me, you can see there, Charlotte sitting at 72. Also fair weather, some there as well. But throughout much of the southeast, we are dealing with those showers and thunderstorms right about there. You can kind of see that cutoff there with that temperature gradient there. That's really where those storms are concentrated right now along the western panhandle of Florida and also back here in Mississippi. But generally sitting in the 70s in this area, but down in Florida, sitting in the middle 80s, maybe even touching 90 in some places in Tampa right now. But one thing that is uniform around the southeast right now is that mugginess. It's really sitting in the 60s. Our lowest is 60 right now in Little Rock on the dew point, but 71 in Tallahassee. This stretch right here, that's where those dew points could be maybe in the middle 70s. So that's really, really muggy and humid and uncomfortable kind of weather right now. So that's thanks to this wind coming off the Gulf of Mexico, thanks to this spinning high pressure here off the coast of the Carolinas, really bringing us in that moist, humid air from the Gulf of Mexico and feeding in that moisture to that system that we have going on right now and giving a little bit of fuel to that severe weather threat. We don't really have any active warning, although we do have one warning here in Tennessee. We don't really have that many warnings associated with this right now. We did have a severe thunderstorm watch in Alabama and Mississippi earlier today, but that has since been dropped, and we won't have to worry about that really going into tonight. Those will weaken as we go throughout the night tonight. But again, we do have that threat for flooding, that's a mouthful right there, some flooding for the western panhandle, also the Gulf Coast states as well, because too much of anything is a bad thing. So if we get too much rainfall, even though we're dealing with some drought in these places, like Louisiana, too much rainfall can be a bad thing. So that can lead to some flash flooding. So you can see that here on that rainfall forecast, really feeling it along the Gulf Coast. Look at that, we could even see isolated spots of 5 inches or greater. Same thing for just south of New Orleans. You could see 5 inches of rainfall over the next 72 hours. And also up near Charlotte, you could see excessive rainfall as well. But for tonight, looks pretty mild around much of the southeast. That thunderstorm threat does persist overnight tonight. And much of the same for tomorrow. Moves slightly further towards the east, but still sitting in the 90s for Orlando and Tampa. So looks pretty nice there. But now I want to give things over to Brandon with a wider look at our national.
Yes, that's right. And we do have some stuff going on nationally, of course. We have there we go. We have temperatures right now, not terrible. Do you see we have some hot spots? We see, Tampa area in Florida, a lot warmer. A little further up you go, we have some cooler conditions. You can kind of see 67 in Kansas City, and that's where a lot of the rain is going to be right here. And here is that local, the surface map, and we see that low pressure system bringing in all those rain and storms stretching all the way down to the Gulf Coast. And we also see another low pressure system that will help bring in some severe weather into the Pacific Northwest. I'll give you a closer look on that in just a little bit. For today, the Storm Precision Center outlook is highlighting 2 areas for a slight risk. That is a 2 out of 5 on the scale. We see Indianapolis area and Chicago area, and a little bit, down by the Gulf Coast is another area. And for that radar, I don't see any. Oh, here we go. I see a severe thunderstorm warning in Tennessee that's going on right now. One of the main threats for this area is going to be damaging straight line winds and the possibility of a tornado if that rises up. And going further north into Indianapolis, Indiana, and the Chicago area, that is where the warm front is located, just right about here. So there is a conditional tornado watch in case the storms that pop up along here have the right conditions. A tornado could be possible, and the severe wind threat is also one of the main threats that we see in this area. And again, there's no active warnings, though, in that area as well. And going into tomorrow, here is that Pacific Northwest, the severe threat. We have a slight risk over there, and also a slight risk over the same place, just a little bit more east over in Ohio. The main threats for these are going to be severe hail and wind. As you go into day 3, the threats are going to be around the same, severe wind and hail. And both these areas have moved just a little more eastward with the slight risk over in the Atlantic coast. And for our drought, I'll show you in a second that the rainfall, but our drought right now seems to be most of the western U.S. and the eastern U.S., not too much, a little bit over in the Atlantic coast. And here we go with our rainfall for the next 3 days. We see, where's all this rain going to be at? It's not where they need it over in the west coast. It's mostly all over in the east coast, with our hot spots looking to be North Carolina, the Gulf Coast, and you see a little bit more over in the northeast. And here's our active alerts for that severe threat we see in the Gulf Coast. Here's that flood watch. All this rain is just propagating up north, and just it keeps coming. It keeps redirecting and moving north, and a lot of that rain is going to be over already rain-soaked areas from previous days. So that will definitely provide a threat from flooding, and flash floods could also occur from that as well. We also have a small craft advisory for some winds and the rain over in the waters. And for our tropics, the eastern Pacific is heating up. We have an 80% chance for the convection right over here, and so that is a high developing chance for 5 days. And for this little blob of convection over here is about 20% chance. And if we do get a first storm, it's going to be Agatha. Here's the storms list. And as well, we're predicting round average, a little bit lower than average for our 30-year average, maybe possible 10 to 17 named storms overall. And for the overnight hours, we see the temperatures dropping just a little bit, up into maybe possible the 60s and 70s. And for tomorrow, we see temperatures will ramp back up with also rain chances as well. And here we go to Evan, over to our lifestyle for your Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, thanks, Brandon. So, yeah, if you're planning on getting away this weekend, as I am, to Tampa, Florida, that's one of the places that we have coming up here. I'll show you in a second. We have a 5-day forecast there. But around the southeast, Orlando's looking beautiful. New Orleans has been dealing with those showers all day today, but that'll change as we go towards Memorial Day weekend. Miami, beautiful as always, nice and warm, 85 degrees there, and also in Charleston, 80 degrees and partly cloudy right now. So it looks like great conditions there right now. And if you're headed out to the beach, this is an important thing. Look at all those sea surface temperatures above 80 degrees. You really want to be along the western coast of Florida, down by Miami and the Keys, of course. That's where you're going to find that warm water. And also by New Orleans in Louisiana. That's where you also have sea surface temperatures above 80 degrees. So if you're looking for that nice warm beach water, that bath water almost, those are the places where you want to go this weekend. But if you're headed out to the parks in Orlando, looks like tomorrow is probably your best bet in terms of rainfall being non-existent. Those storm threats really persist throughout the Memorial Day weekend, just like a 50-50 shot throughout much of the weekend. So make sure you have that umbrella in hand. Same thing with your rain jacket, just in case you do encounter a heavy downpour. For Miami, a similar story. Sunday is actually the worst day of the weekend with that 70% chance, clearing out slightly for Memorial Day weekend, but temperatures still stay nice and comfy in the middle 80s, pretty consistent throughout much of the week. And look at that, only sitting in the middle to upper 70s for low, so that's very comfortable outside. New Orleans, like I said, we're dealing with that rain for tomorrow, but look at that weekend. Just gorgeous weather for Friday through Monday. Just incredible weather there. And we'll also look at Tampa, Florida, where I'm going this weekend to see the Yankees take on the Rays. The Yankees are going to win on Friday, so mark my words. But looks like great weather up until Memorial Day with that 80% chance of rainfall. Now I'm actually going to come back on screen here, and we're going to take one last look at that live look at Bill Campbell Stadium. Still sitting at 83 degrees with those cloudy skies. You can actually see behind me those darker clouds are those thunderstorms that we've been tracking, that unsettled weather off to our west. This camera is looking west, so you can see those from that camera. That south-southeasterly breeze coming off the Gulf of Mexico at 7 miles per hour. And you can see where all that rain has cooled off our temperatures off to the west, only sitting in the low to middle 70s right now from places like Bainbridge and Quincy right now, with those warmer temperatures off to the east, sitting in the middle to upper 80s for places like Valdosta and Perry right now. But we are very humid, as I've been saying here, sitting in the middle 60s for our eastern areas, and the western areas dealing with those higher dew points sitting in the lower to maybe even middle 70s, 75 in Apalachicola. That's really uncomfortable. But for tonight, we can't rule out a scattered thunderstorm hitting somewhere in our area overnight tonight. Clouds will build throughout the day tomorrow, and then we get this big line of storms that comes around right around this time tomorrow evening. So we'll have to be tracking that as we go throughout tomorrow afternoon and our show tomorrow as well. So we'll track that for you guys here on FSU Weather. So make sure you have that umbrella ready for tomorrow, because looks almost certain that we're going to get some sort of rainfall tomorrow. But for tonight, we'll have those early chance of thunderstorms, 69 degrees, with that east-southeasterly breeze at 3 miles per hour. And it looks like we have our thunderstorm threats for Thursday and Friday, but clearing out for Memorial Day weekend. Look at that. It looks gorgeous as temperatures moderate towards that 90-degree mark by the time we get to the beginning of next week. But you can also follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/FSU Weather if you like us, which I really hope you do. And you can also like us on Facebook at facebook.com/FSU Weather. And if you're not already, you can watch us live on YouTube or any of our archives at youtube.com/FSU Weather. And you can also follow us on Instagram at FSU Weather. You can send us those dog walk forecast pictures. We always like to see those. But here's one last look at Doak Campbell Stadium. I'm student meteorologist Evan O'Regan. Have a great evening.